The Atlanta Falcons are finally waking up, but the cost of fixing this franchise might be losing one of the most talented players we have seen in a generation. We are looking at a complete regime change that brings a legend home, a front office shakeup that was years in the making, and a contract decision that is going to divide this fanbase right down the middle. If you thought the last few years were chaotic, strap in, because the 2026 offseason is starting with a bang. Before we break down the return of Matty Ice and the hard truth about Kyle Pitts, I have a job for you. We are trying to build the most passionate Falcons community on YouTube, and we need your help. If you love this team through the wins and the heartbreak, hit that like button, share this video with a friend who needs to hear this news, and subscribe right now. Let's welcome 15 new diehard fans to the family today. Let's start with the news that has everyone talking. It feels like we have been waiting for a savior since the moment number 2 left the building, and now, it looks like he is coming back to save us again. According to reports from Diana Rossini and buzz all around the league, it is widely believed that Matt Ryan is set to become the new president of football operations for the Atlanta Falcons. This is massive. This isn't just a feel-good reunion story. This is a complete restructuring of how this team operates. The report goes on to say that Ryan is already heavily involved in the search for our next general manager. The name on everyone's lips? Ian Cunningham. Now, why does this matter? Why is Matt Ryan, a guy with zero front office experience, suddenly the one calling the shots? It's about connections and trust. Matt Ryan and Chicago Bears GM Ryan Poles are extremely close. They played together at Boston College. Ian Cunningham is currently working under Poles in Chicago. You can see the web connecting here. Matt Ryan isn't just being hired to shake hands and kiss babies. He is being hired to build a specific culture, using guys he knows and trusts. I know what some of you are thinking. I see it in the forums and the comments. You're worried. You're saying, Matt Ryan was a great quarterback, but he has no experience running a team. Is this just Arthur Blank hiring his favorite son? I get that fear. It is valid. But let me push back on that with a question that I really want you to think about. We just spent years with a general manager who had a perfect resume. Terry Fontenot had 8 years of high-level front office experience with the New Orleans Saints before coming here. He checked every single box. And what did that experience get us? It got us 5 years of mediocrity. It got us 0 winning seasons. It got us a roster that looked good on paper but folded every time it mattered. Experience is overrated if the instincts aren't there. Matt Ryan led this locker room for 14 years. He knows what a winning standard looks like because he was the standard. He managed egos, he supported coaches, he took the heat when things went wrong, and he elevated everyone around him. That is football EQ. And right now, this franchise is desperate for it. Arthur Blank specifically mentioned Ryan's ability to lead a locker room and his high football IQ. We aren't hiring a scout, we are hiring a leader. And if there is one man who has earned the right to try and fix this mess, it is number 2. And let's be honest about the mess he is inheriting. The firing of Terry Fontenot was inevitable. I am not here to celebrate a man losing his job, but as fans, we have to look at the reality. Fontenot was handed a tough situation, sure. He had salary cap hell to deal with early on. But he also made unforced errors that set us back years. He aided in the hiring of Raheem Morris, which, let's just say, has been controversial at best. He oversaw the Kirk Cousins tampering disaster, which wasn't just embarrassing, it cost us $50,000 and a draft pick. In a league where parity is everything, losing draft capital for a clerical error is unforgivable. But the real indictment of the Fontenot era? The draft picks. You build championship teams in the draft, and for every hit Fontenot had, he had a massive whiff that left a hole in our roster. Remember Richie Grant? A second-round pick who never consistently looked like a starter. Jalen Mayfield? He was forced into action and became a turnstile on the offensive line. Bralen Trice? The guy hasn't seen a regular season game since we drafted him. And Troy Anderson? I know some of you still have hope for him, but let's be real, he has been a ghost. He hasn't been on the field enough to justify the investment. J.D. Bertrand is another one. When you miss on that many mid-round picks, you destroy your team's depth. That is why we collapse late in games. That is why we can't sustain injuries. Matt Ryan coming in means we are finally acknowledging that the Saints way, or whatever Fontenot was trying to build, didn't work. We need a new vision. But a new vision requires hard choices, and that brings us to the bad news. We have to talk about the elephant in the room. The Kyle Pitts situation. This is the topic that is going to define our 2026 offseason. For months, I have been saying the Falcons should franchise tag Kyle Pitts. He is young, he is a freak athlete, and we saw flashes in 2025 where he looked like the player we drafted 4th overall. He finished with 928 yards. That is a solid season for any tight end. But a new report from ESPN's Dan Graziano has completely shifted my perspective, and it should shift yours too. Graziano points out a new factor in the equation that I think we have all been ignoring because we didn't want to face it. That factor is Drake London. Drake London is now eligible for a contract extension. And in the NFL, you cannot pay everyone. The salary cap is real. If Kyle Pitts wants top-tier tight end money, and his agent is definitely going to ask for $12 to $15 million a year, you have to ask yourself, can we afford to pay a tight end that kind of money when we have to back up the Brinks truck for our number 1 wide receiver? Graziano mentioned that the Falcons likely won't hand out top money to a player who hasn't been consistently healthy, or consistently great. Now, I will defend Pitts on the health aspect. He has played 17 games in 4 out of his 5 seasons. The narrative that he is injury-prone is actually false. He is durable. But the consistently great part? That stings because it's true. And this is where the comparison to Drake London becomes devastating. Let's look at the numbers. Even though Drake London missed games this year, his production was almost identical to Kyle Pitts, who played the full season. Think about that. Drake London gave you nearly the same output in significantly less time. If London plays those final 5 games, he is easily over 1,200 yards. He is scoring 10 touchdowns. He is dominating games in a way Pitts just hasn't. So, here is the question of the day, and I want you to be brutally honest in the comments section. We are playing general manager. You have a limited budget. You can only sign one of these 2 playmakers to a massive, long-term extension this offseason. Who do you choose? Type L for Drake London, or Type P for Kyle Pitts? I want you to really think about it. Don't just pick your favorite. Think about who helps us win. For me? It hurts to say it because I loved the Pitts pick at the time, but you have to choose Drake London. He is the alpha. He is the guy who moves the chains on 3rd down. He is the guy the quarterback trusts when the play breaks down. Kyle Pitts is a luxury, a 6'6" Ferrari that we don't know how to drive. Drake London is the engine. You pay the engine. If we let Pitts walk in free agency, it is going to sting. Seeing him in another jersey will be tough. But it might be the only responsible move for a team that has holes to fill all over the roster. And that brings me to the solution. If Pitts leaves, the sky doesn't fall. The draft is coming up, and this class actually has some players who might fit our new offense better than Pitts ever did. We have spent years trying to find unicorns, guys who are athletic freaks but maybe don't fit a traditional position. Maybe it's time we just draft good football players. There are guys like Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt, great athlete, can stretch the seam. There is Joe Royer from Cincinnati, reliable, good hands. But the name I want you to remember, the name I want you to look up after this video, is Max Clare from Purdue. Here is why Clare is interesting. The problem with Kyle Pitts has always been his usage. He is basically a big wide receiver. He lines up wide, he lines up in the slot. He doesn't block. That forces the Falcons to carry 3 other tight ends on the roster just to handle the blocking duties. It wastes a roster spot. Max Clare is different. He is a true dual-threat tight end. In 2025, he posted a 71.6 blocking grade on PFF. That is elite for a college player. He can catch the ball in the red zone, he can run seam routes, but he can also put his hand in the dirt and drive a defensive end back 5 yards. Imagine what that does for our offense. If you have a tight end who can actually block, you don't need to sub him out on running plays. The defense doesn't know if it's a run or a pass. With Pitts, when he is on the field, they know it's a pass. When Charlie Warner is on the field, they know it's a run. We have been playing 10 on 11 because our personnel tips our hand. Drafting a guy like Max Clare allows us to disguise our plays. It helps the run game. It protects the quarterback. And it costs a fraction of what Kyle Pitts is going to demand on the open market. So, when you look at the full picture of the 2026 offseason, it is terrifying, but it is also the most hopeful I have been in a long time. We are trading that potential of Terry Fontenot's draft picks for the accountability of Matt Ryan's leadership. We might be trading the flash of Kyle Pitts for the consistency of Drake London and a more balanced roster. It is a new era in Atlanta. The question is, are you ready for it? I want to know your final verdict. Are you excited about Matt Ryan taking the job? Does the idea of losing Kyle Pitts ruin your offseason? Let me know in the comments. We read every single one. And before you go, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are building something special here, and we want you to be a part of it. Let's get those numbers back up and show the algorithm that Falcons fans are the most engaged in the league. Until next time, rise up, stay cool, and I'll see you in the next one.